Every once in a while, music gives us records so massive they feel impossible to repeat. We're talking albums that sold tens of millions, songs that ruled the charts for months, and feats no artist, past or present, has matched. Today, we're diving into the craziest, most unbreakable records in music history. From timeless classics that shaped generations to viral sensations that defined an era, let's see which milestones may stand forever. Released in 1982, Michael Jackson's Thriller didn't just top charts, it redefined pop music itself. Michael Jackson combined infectious melodies, Quincy Jones's meticulous production, and revolutionary music videos into a cultural earthquake. Songs like Billie Jean, Beat It, and Thriller set new artistic standards, blending visuals, choreography, and sound like never before. Thriller also broke barriers. At the time, MTV was reluctant to feature Black artists, but the sheer demand for MJ's videos forced them to put him into heavy rotation. That move changed not just his career, but the very course of popular culture, opening doors for countless others. With over 70 million copies sold worldwide, it remains the best-selling album of all time. Even AC/DC's Back in Black, at about 50 million, couldn't close the gap. And it wasn't just about sales. Thriller transformed the album format into an event, paving the way for modern blockbuster releases. In today's streaming-dominated era, where fans cherry-pick singles, it's nearly impossible for any album to replicate those numbers. And while Thriller proved how one album could dominate the world, Bing Crosby showed that sometimes a single song could become the soundtrack of generations. Released in 1942, Bing Crosby's White Christmas is more than just a holiday classic. It's the best-selling single of all time, with over 50 million copies sold worldwide. Written by Irving Berlin, its nostalgic longing for home during World War II struck a powerful emotional chord with millions of soldiers and families. Unlike most songs that fade after a season, White Christmas became a permanent fixture of culture. It continues to reappear on holiday and seasonal charts today, and in recent years even re-entered the Billboard Hot 100. It also set the standard for holiday music, inspiring generations of artists, from Mariah Carey to Michael Bublé, to chase that same universal feeling of warmth and nostalgia. Its achievement is staggering. Elton John's Candle in the Wind, a heartfelt tribute to Princess Diana, sold around 33 million copies, yet it still falls short. Still, Elton's record stands as the best-selling physical single of the modern era, a reminder that music can unify people in collective grief as much as in celebration. Crosby's success showed how one song could connect across decades. And decades later, Whitney Houston would take that same idea of universal appeal and turn it into an unmatched streak of hits. Between 1985 and 1988, Whitney Houston pulled off something unimaginable. 7 consecutive #1 singles on the Billboard Hot 100. From Saving All My Love for You to How Will I Know, Greatest Love of All, and I Wanna Dance with Somebody, Whitney dominated airwaves for nearly 3 years straight. Radio and MTV gave songs long shelf lives in the 80s, but Whitney's voice and charisma elevated each track into an event. She wasn't just releasing singles, she was creating cultural moments. Her performances set a new standard for vocal excellence, blending gospel power with pop accessibility in a way no one had done before. This streak remains unmatched. Not even megastars like Mariah Carey, Rihanna, or Taylor Swift, all icons in their own right, have managed to replicate it. Whitney's run was a perfect storm of artistry, timing, and mass appeal. Her dominance cemented the template for the modern pop diva: crossover appeal, powerhouse vocals, and global recognition. And while Whitney reigned with consecutive singles, the Beatles showed how a band could elevate that formula even further. Not just stringing hits together, but reshaping the entire idea of what popular music could be. The Beatles' impact on music is undeniable, and their record proves it. 20 #1 hits on the Billboard Hot 100, more than any other act in history. From I Want to Hold Your Hand and Yesterday to Hey Jude and Let It Be, their catalog wasn't just popular, it shaped the cultural DNA of the 1960s. Their achievement wasn't a quick burst of success, but a sustained reign. Each single release was treated like a global event, with fans lining up at record stores and radio stations premiering songs simultaneously across continents. Beatlemania wasn't just hype, it was the birth of modern pop fandom as we know it. What makes their record unbreakable is the consistency of reinvention. Across just 8 years, they evolved from simple pop melodies to psychedelic experimentation and beyond, and each phase still produced chart-topping hits. Modern artists may dominate briefly, but none have combined reinvention with commercial dominance at this scale. Their streak remains the high watermark of songwriting genius and cultural timing, and while the Beatles proved entire catalogs could conquer the charts, Pink Floyd showed that sometimes one visionary album can create a legacy that endures across half a century. Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon, released in 1973, is one of the most enduring records in music history. It spent an unbelievable 990 non-consecutive weeks on the Billboard 200 album chart. That's more than 19 years. What made it so enduring? Unlike pop albums built on singles, Dark Side was crafted as a complete journey. Its seamless transitions between tracks, experimental production, and philosophical lyrics about time, greed, and mortality gave listeners something far deeper than radio hits. With innovations like pioneering use of synthesizers and studio effects, it became a template for the modern concept album. The album also thrived on word of mouth and live performance. Pink Floyd's concerts, with elaborate light shows and immersive sound, kept the record relevant for new generations. Even today, over 50 years later, discovering Dark Side of the Moon is almost a rite of passage for music fans. Few albums have maintained such cultural weight across decades. And while Pink Floyd's achievement represents longevity through artistry, Lil Nas X proved in the digital era that dominance can look very different, where a single viral track can take over the entire world in just a few months. In 2019, Lil Nas X's Old Town Road didn't just go viral. It rewrote chart history. Blending country twang with trap beats and a playful, endlessly catchy hook, it spent a record-breaking 19 weeks at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, the longest reign ever. Its rise was fueled by TikTok challenges, where users created memes and dances that made the song impossible to escape. The controversy around Billboard briefly removing it from the country chart only amplified the buzz, making it a cultural talking point. Then came the Billy Ray Cyrus remix, which turned the song from a viral hit into a mainstream juggernaut. Each remix extended its lifespan, and by the time its run ended, it had redefined what chart dominance looks like in the streaming age. No longer was success driven by radio alone. It was about internet shareability and global participation. Old Town Road represents a new era of music history, one where fan engagement fuels records as much as artistry. Old Town Road held its place as the longest-running #1 in Billboard Hot 100 history, until 2024, when Shaboozey's country rap anthem, A Bar Song, Tipsy, tied the record at 19 weeks. Maybe there's something about that unlikely blend of country twang and hip-hop beats, because clearly, it's a recipe for chart history.